Welcome to Status Quo, where for some reason I have a layover in JFK next week, so time to blowtorch the radio.
Another blowtorch is always
not like
nice.
WNYC already doing that.
There's already so many blowtorches, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's
well.
Anyway, so welcome to the ERN podcast, everyone. So this week we got Anna back. We didn't mention last week that she disappeared, but sorry.
And it was too busy.
Buddy, you
back.
better be. I can stop sponsoring your podcast with absolutely nothing.
Oh, speaking of sponsoring, this episode of the GWES-ERN podcast is sponsored by WACN Technologies.
You bet your ass it is.
And then we also got Gabe, we got Marlon, we got John. This will be John's last episode for a hot minute because he decided to flee the fucking country because he's blowtorching the fucking radio.
Dude, blowtorch so hard he ended up in Europe.
Yeah, John will be back eventually, but
that's true.
So this week we'll talk about some random EAS shit that's been going on. Talking about T-Mobile and their stupid WIA tests and blaming FEMA. And then the first recorded Volcano Warning activation ever happened last night, which was Saturday, June 30th. We're actually recording this a day late than usual because,
reasons.
Another because that should have never fucking happened. Thanks, Nebraska.
I'm actually now that I'm looking back at it in hindsight, I'm glad we postponed because we wouldn't have been able to include it.
Yeah.
And then we're going to be doing today's episode of VAS history is going to be a fun one because what we're going to be doing is we are going to be talking shit on everyone.
Oh yeah.
Our topics of the EAS history this time around is going to look in the past from 2011. We're going to be doing a post-mortem on the 2011 test and how fucked up it was. And then
thanks WCCO.
Thanks WCCO. We're going to take that and we're going to keep on going through the years. Every single time the EAS is fucked up in some way, shape, or form, as well as any like notable false activations and then DASDEC and EasyCap related security breaches.
Okay, I would like to. I would like to make a legal disclaimer here. We will not be covering every single EAS fail because there are, frankly, too many to cover.
We will cover the notable ones.
Yeah, most of the notable ones.
But anyway, so let's get started with our first topic in our random EAS shit that's been going on. So Gabe and Anna have actually experienced this firsthand. T-Mobile doing random WIA tests.
6 times.
So what do you guys want to explain, kind of like at least from your experience, what it was?
Yeah, sure.
Would you like to go, Gabe?
Yeah, I can explain my point of view because I have context a little bit before because I was already awake at that point. You woke up from it. So, anyways, so I was pulling an all-nighter because I couldn't sleep. Thanks, 90-degree weather, and I heard my phone go off for a WIA test. I'm like, all right, emergency alert exercise. This is only a test. Please disregard. I'm like, all right, cool. Hit okay. Put my phone down. Then it goes off again.
Wasn't it like 3 minutes later?
Yeah. I look at it again. Same message. I'm like, maybe something's broken. They're probably just trying to fix it. Put it down. And at that point, I posted in the ERN participants chat, like, yo, this happened. And I'm like, oh, it happened again. And then Anna replied back saying that she was getting the same thing. Now, typically, those kinds of tests don't happen when one person is in Wisconsin and the other one's in Seattle, Washington.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the only way for that really to happen is nationwide alert activation.
Hey, guys, I got e-skip on my cell tower.
But so after Gabe messaged that he kept getting the tests, I proceeded to go on to Twitter to see what's going on, and it's blowing up everywhere, all over the nation. Everybody's like, why is my phone going off for a test at 5 a.m. in the morning? Because Gabe forgot to mention, this was at 5:30 a.m. So
is that in your time zone?
Yeah,
that's
5:30 a.m. Central.
3:30 Pacific.
Yeah, so middle of the night. So these tests are going off, and we're trying to find out. And by the end of the night, they had sent I believe it was 4 tests live over the air. By the third one, I had literally put my phone into Do Not Disturb because these are force pushes. It's not like you can opt out of them.
Oh yeah, that's something else that we have to mention. These alerts were considered exercise alerts, but they were being sent as broadcast, but basically the WEA equivalent to broadcast intrusive. Mm-hmm. So that bypasses any of the filters that you have set up on your phone.
Which is why people that didn't have test alerts enabled were still getting them.
Yep.
No, I actually found out exactly why. You remember how they were exercise? Exercise alerts don't fall under the test category because they fall under a category you can't turn off called exercise. I didn't know this until I was actually looking through my phone settings, and it actually tells me that it's a different category of alert. So you just can't turn it off. The only way to turn off exercise alerts, the only way to turn off exercise alerts is to just turn off WEA entirely.
Which don't do.
That's what Gabe did. I wound up putting my phone into airplane mode because I can continue to receive messages over Wi-Fi.
Honestly, I personally, just in my honest opinion, I feel like the only organization or entity that should be able to issue any sort of WEA alert should be FEMA and FEMA only, and the National Weather Service and all of the local and state authorities. I feel like private companies, or not private companies, but companies that provide the cap feeds like Sprint and T-Mobile and all that should not be allowed to issue their own alerts, and if they do, they have to use one very specific code.
Yeah, and here's the thing about that too. None of these tests were going over iPods.
Yeah, it's their own private thing.
It was being sent directly to the phones through using their own tools.
Which I feel like it's honestly not. I feel like that shouldn't be a thing because iPods should be the only way that these go through.
Oh, and it gets better.
They were blaming it on FEMA.
Yeah, so that portion.
So basically, what happened is everybody in Twitter started pinging T-Mobile and FEMA, going, "What the hell's going on?" Because these tests are 4 tests back to back to back within 30 minutes. On I think it was Wednesday of last week. I don't remember. But point is, we had 4 tests back to back to back, and they pinged both T-Mobile and FEMA, going, "What's going on?" T-Mobile then turns around and pins it on FEMA, saying FEMA's the ones who issues alerts. It's their fault for this happening, even though I think it's well known by now that ERN has access to said iPOS feeds. Those alerts were never issued over iPOS. If they were, every carrier would have gone off, not just T-Mobile. But it gets even better because the next day they send 2 more at 2:30 a.m.
2:30 a.m. your time or
my time? Yeah. So the first one went off at literally 2:32, and the next one went off at 2:33.
And then I think we should also mention that this isn't just T-Mobile. This is T-Mobile as a whole. So any sub-carriers, like, for example, you and Gabe are on Google Fi, which runs on T-Mobile.
Yeah. So whatever
any MVNO that runs off of T-Mobile will get it.
Whenever we're saying T-Mobile, we're not saying the actual carrier service T-Mobile. We're talking the network itself. So I believe it was T-Mobile, TracFone got it, Google Fi, Boost.
Oh, I should have had my phone on then, because I got a phone with TracFone on it.
What's the one with the frickin' actor as their representative?
Mint Mobile? Oh.
Ryan Reynolds, Mint Mobile?
Yeah, Mint got it. So all of these carriers, they all got it because they sent it over the actual network, not the carrier.
So when they send it up that high, that means it had to have probably been sent from a pretty high place of authority. Not authority, but a pretty high place of work, as in like someone who works in like a main area, right?
Well, not even that. It just has to be like a T-Mobile engineer that has access to the
exactly,
system there.
It can't just be some random dude at a cell tower,
No. Because if bear in mind, the cell towers only relay that information from like...
Yeah, there's no control.
So somebody was testing something, because here's the thing. Whenever it comes to this, they were pinning the blame on iPOS, even though, first of all, it wasn't iPOS. And second of all, they were saying that these tests could not be avoided. That them going over the air is inevitable. Here's the thing. If you know how CAP works, you know that whenever it comes to WEA, you can literally turn it off. First of all, you can set it as not an exercise test, so it won't override everything. But you can also, you can set it as a proper test alert, and you can also send it in a way where it won't activate your customers' phones.
Yeah, there's multiple
you can tell
alleys that you
to,
can take.
Yeah. You can tell it to not be intrusive. They didn't do that, and they tried to pin the blame on other companies or other authorities, which were not involved in this in any way. Other than, making the frickin' public alerting system.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the thing that's just stupid about that is, like, pinning it. Like, they just won't own up to it. Like, that's the thing I don't like about it.
Yeah, honestly, if they would have just said, hey, I'm sorry, we did it by accident.
In a malicious way. Like, you don't just blame the government for that. Like, that's not their place. They don't have access to I mean, they do because it's iPods, but they didn't do it through iPods, so they did it on their own systems.
Yeah.
And the government because Anna, you messaged them on Twitter and you got the response of that it was FEMA's fault.
Yeah, several people did. They had a canned response of it's FEMA's alerting system, and I think John, wasn't it you who said that, like, somebody sent you a message saying that frickin' iPods was pissed because they were getting angry phone calls about this and they had nothing to do with it?
Do you want to explain kind of more of what you heard from them?
Oh, here's another thing. For people with subcarriers, because I actually looked through, like, people who are having Google Fi, who would ping both Google Fi, or I saw one with Boost and saw one with Mint and one with Google Fi. They would ping both Google Fi and T-Mobile. Google Fi would respond with, it's not us. Because we can't do that. We're on T-Mobile's network, and T-Mobile, whenever they would go to T-Mobile instead, because it's not Fi, because it's not their network, T-Mobile would turn around and say, oh, it's Fi. They're the one who sent it.
What?
Yeah, they were just pinning the blame on anyone else. They don't even have that
technology. They do not have that technology.
Google Fi does have that technology. They do have the ability to send their own alerts. The issue is this was a full T-Mobile system issuance across the United States. Yeah. But T-Mobile was pinning the blame on anyone but themselves. They pinned it on FEMA. They pinned it on every single subcarrier. They did not accept that they're the ones who fucked up in this situation.
Here's my theory. So my theory is that there's two theories. There's one is that whoever is the general manager or whatever of, like, social media and shit told all of the social media people to reply this way, or they were pre-told to just say, hey, if there is literally any problem with test or WEA test, just literally give this canned response, and maybe they weren't updated yet. So either it's a completely horrible communication exercise, like they did not have very good communication in between. Here's the thing, operational.
Though, too, is even after, like, a day after the first main event, like, they had plenty of time to let their social media know, but they still, like, I bet you if you asked them right now, they would still say it's iPods.
Yeah, so it's just I don't even understand. So honestly, we kind of knocked out the idea of it being a communication error.
See, whenever I pinged them about it, this was literally the day after the second one. So this was, I believe, around 4 a.m. after the second one went off. This is a second day, so the set of 2, they sent 6 total, 4 in the first day, 2 in the second.
I mean, why would they continue to do that?
Well, that's the thing. They have no reason to do that. They know the system works. There's nothing wrong with the system. I have a feeling that I still have this feeling. I feel like it was a training exercise, that they didn't realize that they were pushing it live until it was already too late. And they don't want to own up that they fucked up that training exercise. So they're pinning the blame on everyone else.
Yeah. I don't even understand why they, even if it wasn't a training exercise and they wanted to just test it, there's literally that same day, there were like 5 different freaking alerts probably that went over all of T-Mobile at once. Like there was an Amber Alert for Florida. There was probably a bunch of National Weather Service shit. Like, honestly, your system works. Why do you need to test it? And why do you have to do it 2 days in a row? So that, honestly, I don't know.
Honestly, I'm not angry about them testing it because, testing is a good thing. The issue here is when they tested it and how they responded to their customers asking what was going on.
Well, and I also have an issue with how many times that they did test. Like, there's no reason to send, 3 tests in a row?
Oh, here's an even bigger point. So when I first joined ERN, when I first joined ERN, I would be developing my stuff, and I would constantly be sending, test alerts and shit like that. Not like I still don't. But I would always get reprimanded and say, hey, if you're going to do testing, you need to have a testing side for things. There needs to be an operational and a testing side. And I'm sure T-Mobile has some sort of smaller test network that they use for shit. Why not just do that? Why use the operational network? And if you're going to train your employees, why not do it in a dummy area?
Mm-hmm.
It's just poor planning.
Whenever it comes to testing, I like to think of it like the same way that they do testing for... have you ever seen the test facilities for frickin' nuclear power plants?
No, actually.
Those are really cool. They make an exact duplicate of the entire system.
Yeah.
Except they don't hook it up to an actual power plant. It's just hooked up to a simulator. So I feel like that is a really great way for testing. Because here, watch. Let's say we wanted to test a national alert through the system. We don't want to send that over live because that will cause pandemonium.
Panic.
So what we can do is I'm absolutely 100% sure that T-Mobile has enough resources to make an
100%.
duplicate.
If a nuclear power plant that serves a minuscule amount of people compared to what a giant network provider like T-Mobile does, T-Mobile has ample amount of money to do that.
Yeah, so they have the funds to duplicate their system, at least on a small scale. Now, what you can do is you can get a couple different phones. You don't need every phone, just
your 3
enough.
majors.
Yeah, three major brands. Yeah. The way I do it is 3 major brands, 3 smaller brands, and then 3 different generations. So newest, last gen, super fucking old. I would do that so I have a nice data set, and then I can connect all of these to this dummy network using... if you're going to be duplicating it, you can use at least 1 cell tower, basically a transmitter in a fucking room with a different set of SIM code, so no other phone can actually access it. You hook that up to your freaking mock network. Now you can send alerts all you want. That isn't going to hit anyone. That's not going to impact anyone. And since it's a duplicate of your live system, at least on a smaller scale, it will work whenever you move it over to your live system because it's the exact same system. That's that. Like I was saying, whenever it comes to the nuclear power plant stuff, they make an exact duplicate. So whenever they're training the people, you literally cannot tell the difference between the test room and the actual thing. You cannot. Every single button's in the exact same place. Every single alarm is the exact same alarm. Every single word in every single panel is exactly the same. Even to the point where the trash cans are in the same spot in the rooms. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely insane. And the thing is, whenever you're talking about a carrier like T-Mobile, Verizon, Sprint, these big carriers, they have enough funds to do that easily, hands down.
Oh, yeah.
So I have a feeling that either that's what happened or somebody was just fucking around, not knowing what they were doing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think that needs to be addressed by T-Mobile, and there probably needs to be a public statement for that, because T-Mobile is right up there with Verizon and AT&T for customer base. So this impacted probably a good quarter of the nation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another thing about that is like, not only should there be, fixing what's already done, there should be future, implementations. Like, I understand that. Okay, so let's be honest here. Some bozo that got hired doesn't just, have access to issue a whole freaking test. Like, there should be like two-factor upon two-factor to issue this stuff like this. So like, honestly, some guy that's trained insanely should not make a mistake like this. Do you get what I'm saying? So whoever has access to it knows what the fuck they're doing. But if some little bozo tries to come and, issue an alert, they won't be able to.
So what you're saying is it needs to be better access control.
Extremely better access control. Like, I don't give a shit. Lock it in a bunker.
Like this
Honestly,
is a freaking. And there's probably an instance of what happened in Hawaii.
Yeah, exactly. Wrong button or something.
Instead of a wrong button, it's the access controls aren't great.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
honestly,
it's a whole thing that we still are trying to get more information about. And since T-Mobile isn't owning up to anything, it's hard to get that information.
We basically gotta wait for FEMA to do their thing.
But they're definitely.
And trust me, FEMA is doing their thing. Yeah,
I can almost guarantee you that they are looking into it because, granted, it was on their own. It was on T-Mobile's network. It's still wireless emergency alert. It's still governed by FEMA.
Yeah.
Another thing. Oh, go ahead.
The FCC system.
Another thing that FEMA is most likely looking into right now is Nebraska. So what happened yesterday, I only caught like the tail end of whatever happened, but apparently there was something that was supposed to be an EVI or whatever it was supposed to be. It was a wildfire alert.
Warning or something.
Yeah, or
we
fire
don't know
warning.
what it was supposed to be.
It was issued. The text was all normal. TTS was normal. So like the average user probably wasn't affected, except their phone said volcano warning, which probably freaked the shit out of people. Or
TV networks because it was a cap alert.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, what happened was they sent a regular alert, and I'm assuming someone hit the wrong button or someone programmed the wrong script or something. They sent it as a volcano warning. The code was VOW.
Yeah, this is the first time, at least to our knowledge, in recorded history, that the volcano warning code was ever used for an official alert.
It's
granted, it's a misactivation, but it's a massive deal because one, that code has never been used, and it was the first time it was used was an error. But
and you know what I'm thinking right now?
I don't know what kind of software, or I don't know if they're using like a DAS EOC or something or whatever. But I know on like equipment like that, like it has specific messages, and it shows you, like for example, like on the DAS interface, whenever you go to originate something, it'll specifically make sure that's the event code that you chose.
If this helps anyone, I'm pretty sure the actual iPause like code was just a bunch of numbers. There was no letters or anything, no underscores. Usually like Mnet or something like that, if they were pushing it through Mnet, usually has like an underscore and then the sender name and stuff like that. So I'm not sure what that is. But another reason why this is such a huge deal is, just from my perspective, imagine this. You're sitting here, you're a radio operator, and you're like, you don't really know a whole lot about the EAS. You know what to do. You know, hey, push DAS button twice, send weekly. Haha, very funny.
Exactly.
So you don't really know much about this, but you get this warning that says volcano warning, but it's a wildfire warning. And crap, I'm a radio station, and I like big corporate money. I don't want to send anything that would interrupt my music except when I'm absolutely required to. And I would assume... and I would assume they're probably not required to send volcano warnings, but I could be completely wrong. My guess is that at least one station was like, crap, I don't want to send this anymore because it was really annoying, so they blocked the volcano warning code. But what if there was, something that actually needed the volcano warning code and now it's blocked off? It's kind of like Boy Who Cried Wolf. It's like Boy Who Cried Wolf,
Yeah, I mean, the volcano code really doesn't have much use.
But when it does.
It has a purpose. But from my perspective, most people will use either EVI or LAE.
Yeah, exactly. Volcano code is kind of like the blue code. It doesn't really have a whole lot of use because there's another
reason I could
code for it.
The only reason, like, I was telling my wife about this yesterday, actually. So the only reason I could ever see like VOW, VOA, right, being used is if like Yellowstone, for example. Like the thing is though with Yellowstone is you'll know when it's going to happen.
Oh yeah.
Like maybe like a day in advance at least. But the thing is with that, like I could see VOW being used for that because it's like, oh, ooga booga, volcano warning, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, exactly.
But the thing is, though, like, there isn't much use other than that because the thing is, though, because Yellowstone is a national emergency. So, like, I could see it being used for that. But at the same time, though, I could see it being used for for not many other purposes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I think there needs to be...
Yeah, it's like, guys, Old Faithful just erupted. We need to send a freaking volcano warning. Yeah.
Oh my god, guys, send out volcano warning.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, volcano warning.
Bluff, Nebraska. Scott's Bluff.
So, what do we know what the county was off the top of our head that sent that?
It had two words.
Wild.
It had two words. Hold on, let me look for it.
Yeah, we know it was in Nebraska.
I am checking right now. That it was Scott's Bluff. Yeah, Scott's Bluff.
Bluff, Nebraska. And I'm assuming it was probably emergency management that sent it.
Yeah. There's some sort of EMA just for that county. It's not like, inland.
Yeah. Looking at it, it was the Nebraska Region 22 EMA.
Okay, I'm actually just checking my actual cap feed really quick.
And
yeah, so the code was literally just a bunch of numbers.
It's Rave. It's one of their issuing things. Because Rave Mobile, I believe,
would not have done that.
They actually test almost every single day into iPods.
The CDN that had the audio on it was
Rave is origination
Maybe it was
software.
some sort of proprietary software they're using. Yeah.
Yeah, Rave isn't Rave the ones that send like
Rave that
daily a freaking earthquake warning into the iPod's test lab?
Yeah, Rave is an origination software, kind of like AlertSense.
Okay,
it's a software that can communicate, that can send two iPods open.
Yeah.
Yeah, they send daily earthquake warnings to the TDL feed.
Huh. That's actually kind of interesting.
So either it could have been from my perspective, the only ways I could have seen this happening is one, poor training, or two, a software issue. But software issue is not high on my list at all because that software has been out for a bit. And that has never happened before.
It was most likely operator error, 100%.
Which the thing is, though, like, especially in like emergency management, if you have access to iPods, you shouldn't have these issues in the first place.
You should know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah, it's once again access control. Like, you need to know exactly what you're doing before you touch the software.
So I don't know if any of y'all know this. I'm actually a certified alert issuer.
Mm-hmm.
I actually went through the FEMA training for alert issuance, and that is one of the things.
Come on, people, goals.
That's cool.
I don't have access to issue alerts, but I have the certification if I ever have to, or if I ever get hired at an EOC.
Yeah,
it's a good resume point. But
goals.
But
speaking of fuck ups, shall we go into EAS history?
I think so. I don't think that's a bad idea at all.
Or should I say EAS shit show?
Yeah.
Well, if we already weren't on that.
Yeah.
Hop on the train.
Hey guys, welcome to the EAS shit show. I'm shit. So I'm actually going to start off a little earlier.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 2005.
Alrighty, I'm in for a ride. Get your popcorn.
Oh yeah, get your fucking popcorn, guys.
All right.
On February the 1st, 2005, in the state of Connecticut, an alert was issued calling for the immediate evacuation of the entire state.
What the fuck?
The message was broadcast due to operator error. while conducting an unannounced but scheduled statewide test.
What the fuck?
So a school fire drill, basically.
And it was also
Unannounced.
sent with zero details. 1% of the people who received the alert actually attempted to leave the state.
Well, I mean,
That's funny.
I don't blame them.
Yeah.
If I got an evacuation that said to evacuate the state of Montana, I'd be on my ass trying to get out of here.
Yeah. Because you in Montana, you ain't got no idea what's coming.
No, you really don't.
Yeah.
I'd be coming over to Seattle to see Gabe to be like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, so do we know why? So we know what it was. Do we know who did it? Do we know like the EMA or anything, or do we know?
It was operator error.
It was operator error. Yeah.
It was operator error. It was originally supposed to be a internal test, but it went out.
I see.
Speaking of internal tests, wasn't that about 2 years later on June 26, 2007, in Illinois, while they were testing a new MNet receiver put at the state's EOC, they sent an EAN.
Oh.
I don't remember that, actually.
Yeah, WGN relayed a freaking MNet EAN. That was issued while they were trying to do closed circuit testing.
Yeah. Again, have a test network, guys.
Oh, it gets better. After the attention tone, the alert was followed by dead air, and then the freaking host of the morning show, Spike O'Dell from WGN, was like, "Wonder what all that beeping was all about," and then EOMs.
Oh, it was all that beeping.
Yeah.
Oh,
do you know? Just out of curiosity, do we know what NDEC it actually was that sent it?
It was MNet.
But like, that's what generated
It was MNet.
Is that what generated like the headers? Like, what do they even sound like? Do they sound like DAS headers?
I don't know. The original alert never got released. We only have the audio from WGN.
I think WGN uses a DAS, so think
this is the radio.
That's an Emma. Yeah, we could ask Emma, and she would probably know.
Oh, you know who else could know? Nick, because he lives in that local area.
Here's the thing: I could tell you guys because I have access to that project that Emma has.
Okay.
I could literally tell you guys.
Well, this is old WGN though.
Well, either way, this is it's either going to be a gray box or a digital.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, but yeah. Before we get into the big wham of a test, do we have any other small ones that we'd like to talk about?
Yeah, we do.
I have any. Oh, I have one more in 2010.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's go all the way to Hermiston, Oregon, near the Umatilla Chemical Depot.
Okay.
Weather radios and CS-EPP tone alert radios. For those of you who are wondering, the CS-EPP radios are something that basically whenever people live near chemical plants, people get those radios given to them by the Army, just for like hazardous material spills and shit.
And wait, what are they activated over though? Like, is there a certain
Weather
frequency?
radio.
Oh, actually,
Weather radio. But they only activate on a certain code.
Is it 1050?
I don't know.
Huh.
So they were activated with an EIS alert shortly after 5 p.m. The message transmitted was originally supposed to be an SVR, severe thunderstorm warning, issued by NWS Pendleton. But the transmission broadcast instead was a long period of silence, followed by a few words in Spanish.
What the fuck?
There wasn't actually an emergency at the depot. So.
Okay. We don't even know what the code was?
No, it was sent over as an SVR.
Oh, okay.
But it still activated those chemical warnings, alert radios.
Yeah.
So, and then we have the big kahuna.
The big one that almost everyone has heard about.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2011 Emergency Action Notification Live Code Test.
Mm-hmm.
So, that test was an interesting one.
It was one of
Some
the biggest all-time failures, like national failures, I think I've ever heard of.
But yeah, so most of the people receive the alert in a feedback loop. So what a feedback loop is for those of you who don't know, is when you put an audio device onto another audio device, it kind of echoes a little bit, kind of like this, you know.
Ow!
That is a feedback loop. But instead, if it's over a period of time, when it's over a period of time, it'll take a little bit longer for it to become a freaking living hell. And that's what happened with the EAN test. WCCO didn't have their index wired correctly. So their PEP index, their digital that originated the alert on their end, sent it over the air over their thing. But in front of them in the air chain was their regular index. And that started relaying because it was using it as a monitor. And then once that happened, the main index took over. And then that began the feedback loop.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, you would have heard 2 copies of the same audio and headers in the first copy of the audio, which actually apparently caused a lot of easies to to activate twice, because I don't think easies had any filter for that.
They did.
They did? Okay.
It would have came from 2 different call signs.
Oh,
and
sure,
also
you're right.
it's an EAN. It's an EAN, and you can configure the easies to not acknowledge the timestamps.
Okay. Yeah. And on top of that, another part of it being a failure was the fact that a lot of lazy station operators just completely refused to just walk over to their easy for 2 seconds and enable test mode. And another problem is even the people that did, if their easy is activated again, test mode would have been off. So at first you would have seen test, and then you would have actually seen primary entry point, national emergency action notification.
Yeah, because the easies only activate the test mode once. It'll relay it once, and then it unticks test mode. But if it relays again, then
yeah. And didn't that cause like a lot of mass panic too? No?
Yeah.
I'm sure just the fact that the audio was unintelligible probably caused a couple people to freak out.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the 2011 EAN test. I guess it's a decent postmortem. I feel like they should definitely do another one just to see what the state of the EAS is now with the EANs, because I think using the NPT event code is kind of defeating the purpose.
Exactly, yeah.
At that point.
Well, to be fair, though, most newer index, at least, will treat NPT as an EAN just without tests.
Nope.
Or just with a test.
You have to explicitly configure it to do that.
Yeah,
oh, really?
I'm pretty sure
Yes.
There's a lot of index that will just literally just relay an NPT like an RMT.
My index will treat it like any other alert.
No, really, because I know DASDEX will treat it as an EAN with live relay and everything.
I haven't really tested, but I'm pretty sure I think TFT is also just treated as a normal alert.
I think NPTs are live relay on TFT.
Are you sure? Because I did try that, but I don't think so.
Here's the thing about NPTs. NPT or the TFT predates the NPT for most of their firmware versions.
Mm.
So it'll just treat it as an unrecognized event.
Oh,
I wonder what a lot of the GRs do, because I mean those are still being sold.
So whenever it comes to the GRs,
exactly.
the NPT falls under test alert. Yeah, even the newer versions of the TFT that did actually have the NPT code does the same thing. It falls under a test alert. Yeah, it doesn't treat it like an EAN.
Huh.
The only
code that live relays are the EAN. Is literally the EAN code.
Yeah, not even. Oh, actually, no. TFTs do treat the EAT. I'm pretty sure
only
similar
EAN.
to the EAN.
No,
are you
it's
sure?
only EAN.
I thought I tried it.
Trust me, I have 2 over here. I can tell you. So the only index that can actually treat an NPT like an EAN are the Easy Cap and the Sage. And the reason why is, also you can technically do it with the DASDEC as well, but not at the same level.
Well, because I know on my DAS deck, NPT falls under the national alert node, which is set to do live relay just like an EAN, and it's the only other codes that fit in there are EAN and NPT.
The DAS deck is weird because they added that in a newer version, but in the older versions that most DAS decks are on, because I've noticed that a lot of DAS decks are on the older versions, it wasn't like that. It was only EAN and EAT in that filter.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why, and here's the thing, you can't really change it either. On the older models, you would have to upgrade. But on the Sage, you can just drop it into the same filter as the EAN. And I believe it will auto-relay the same exact way.
Mm-hmm.
I need to check up on that. But with the Easy, the reason why I can say the Easy Cap can treat it like an EAN is you can make the Easy Cap treat every alert like an EAN. So you can literally make the Easy Cap...
Booga, severe thunderstorm warning.
No, you can literally make the Easy Cap live relay every single alert. It's literally a check.
And Easies are fast, too. Don't they go off, like, insanely fast for EANs?
I haven't tested the cap for EANs, but the Easy Pluses relay EANs like instantly.
Yeah.
Like you see the first you play the first header and boom, it's sending.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
I've never tested the DAS deck on it, and I don't plan to. But do we know how fast that one will go off?
I haven't tested it.
Maybe we could take that.
I should test.
Take my DAS deck offline later.
Yeah, we should take a look at that.
Yeah, I'm down to do it after this recording.
What if we, just out of curiosity, what if we set up a couple dummy streams and, like, Gabe, you hooked your Easy up and I hooked my TFT up and we made, like, a little EAN relay chain?
We EAN tested Anna's Easy using the broadcaster. That was fun.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about this later, and we'll come back with the results on the next episode.
EAN
but yeah.
tested my Easy with the broadcaster with 3 different firmware versions that were pushed to the Easy via fucking over the internet,
over the public internet from a virtual machine.
Yeah. Yep. If you want to talk about barely scraping by, almost freaking bricking an end deck, that's how you do it.
But yeah, so do we...
I was thinking of double natting it next time.
So is there much we want to talk about with the EAN test? Because I kind of want to move on to something I know a little bit more about.
I got plenty.
All right, go ahead.
In the timeline, I guess KRTV would be next.
Yes, it would.
I actually have a treat for the listeners here.
In the year of 2013,
I have the message loaded in Riverside without the tone, so that we can give like an example of what it sounded like.
Okay, go ahead.
Meanwhile, several stations in Great Falls, Montana, and Marquette, Michigan, had hacked up DAS decks. And guess what they decided to play? They had the choice of any message in the world, but Cam, they decided to play the following.
Yeah, it was a code for a local area emergency, and it had this audio here.
Authorities in your area have reported that the bodies of the dead are rising from their graves and attacking the living.
So it basically went from that back, just continually going about like do not go close to the zombies or quote unquote zombies. But yeah, and then there was actually a few false activations because of it. On top of even like when news stations were covering it, yeah,
they played the headers.
Yeah, I think it was like WIZM, right?
WIZM in La Crosse, Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
And they triggered WKBT DT on the TV side.
Oh, we love not having strict time.
Yeah. But a couple years later, the same dead bodies audio actually got issued on WZZY in Indiana in 2017. A few years later.
Mm-hmm.
So another one that I don't know much about, and nor do I know where it is. Wasn't there something about like a train or whatever, and it was a cat message? There was like...
the one that's like, could you on a train? I don't know if we can verify that was real.
No? Okay. Well,
I don't think we can verify that it's that one being real.
Just a bunch of, like, I don't know. There's a bunch of these that probably aren't verifiable as real.
Yeah, that's my thing. I don't think it's verifiable.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I also have seen a bunch of, like, especially for Cox, there was one where, I don't know what code it was, but there was this guy, it was literally just, I think what happened was someone's NDEC kind of broke, so they may have been sending a weekly, and Cox might have fucked up and relayed it, but basically it was tones, and then it cut. Yeah, and then it cut to some guy's conservative talk show.
Oh, actually, you know what? The WKTV Would You Could You on a Train one, that was real.
How? Like,
somebody was monitoring TDL.
That's funny.
Somebody was monitoring TDL.
Okay, that's probably one of the dumbest things I think I've heard.
For reference for people who don't know, TDL is IPOS's testing lab environment. So that is where all the test alerts are. They have daily earthquake warnings and like monthly alerts that go over there. And we've actually seen quite a few times that blue alerts just show up in TDL all the time. So monitoring TDL is a really bad idea to do it in a live environment.
Yeah, because it's meant for internal only.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but yeah. And then kind of going back to 2008, there's something that I missed. KWVE-FM in California accidentally issued a monthly when it meant to conduct a weekly. Furthermore, the dude aborted the alert by shutting off their NDEC.
Oh my
instead
god!
Of sending EOMs, causing everybody to broadcast their programming until they took their NDEC offline.
Wow.
Is that until it hit the 2 minutes of allowed time, or is that just until they sent EOMs?
No EOMs were sent. Not all NDECs actually acknowledge the 2 minute limitation. Surprisingly.
Surprising, actually, yeah.
And fun fact, you can send an alert for longer than 2 minutes if you're sending it on the stage at priority 63.
Oh, okay.
But anyways, that's besides the point. We can now I'm going to start mixing in a couple more things here. Specifically, tone usage outside of alerts.
Explain.
Y'all ever watch Olympus Has Fallen?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
We were actually talking about that on the last episode.
Yeah. EAS tones, haha, go burr.
Yeah. Who made that again? What company?
They find cable providers, actually.
Oh, really? I thought they just find the...
They find the cable providers, not the studio.
I thought it was ABC that they find for that.
No, they find the cable providers.
Huh.
Oh, who chose to air it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would make sense, I guess.
And then, on October 24th, 2014, some jackass named Bobby Bones played audio from the 2011 test as a part of a rant from a genuine test from the Nashville Fox affiliate WZTV that interrupted Game 2 of the 2014 World Series. People relayed it. A bunch of people relayed it. iHeartMedia got fined $1 million for it.
Wasn't that one of the biggest fines that was ever issued for an EAS?
Yeah. And then they were also ordered to implement a 3-year compliance plan removing all EAS tones or similar sounding noises from its audio production libraries.
There was one like hack for EAS. Do you remember the February 20th, 2020 one of Wave Broadband?
I'll be touching that actually.
Oh, that one has got to be one of my favorites.
I'll be touching that one.
Before that, wasn't there I can't even confirm this is real. I think I just heard this, but wasn't there one where the weekly interrupted some guy's conservative talk show or some sort of talk show, so he played the 2011 audio live on air? I don't remember who that was that told me that, but I think there's a similar instance of something like that happening. Or maybe it wasn't the EAN audio. Maybe it was some sort of EAS audio, but he just got upset.
One that caused the stations to take it.
I don't even know if it caused stations to take it, but he played some sort of EAS audio. I can't verify what that was, but I've heard something like that.
I'm not sure.
If you're listening to this and you're in our Discord, let us know, and we'll probably talk about it on the next episode.
Or if you want to join our Discord, you can go to GWES-ERN.network. Or you can check out globaleas.org.
Yes.
That's a chill site too.
Ours is cooler, even though we're all the same people.
Yeah. Yep. It's also on the same web server too. All right. We can talk about Tegna.
Ooh, yeah, let's do it.
Allow me to introduce you to sports fans being a dumbass. So,
elaborate.
During NBC's primetime coverage of the Summer Olympics, WTLV in Jacksonville, Florida, played an advertisement made by the Jacksonville Jaguars, and featuring out-of-sequence EAS tones over their training camp footage, and a voiceover noting, "This is not a test. This is an emergency broadcast transmission. Seek shelter immediately." Well, along with the on-screen text, "The storm is coming." That shit aired 4 times.
What the fuck?
And then the FCC fined them.
Was it Tegna that got fined for that, or was it the actual?
It was a Tegna owned station, so
Okay.
Tegna would have gotten the fine.
I'm surprised it wasn't the team itself that got fined.
Hey,
You can make it. It is the station's responsibility.
Yeah,
to
that's
make
fair.
sure that doesn't happen.
hey, you wanna know? There's only one instance that I can think of something being worse than that has been extremely recent. You know, Gabe. EAS failures. You know, a radio station. You know, playing EAN headers from a
KWAW.
YouTube rip.
KWAW.
Yep.
I think we've kind of confirmed it off the podcast that the song was most likely illegally obtained anyways.
Yeah.
So it's honestly, in my opinion, it's kind of karma for
IMO's not even a good song anyway.
Yeah, no, it's not.
But anyways,
we're still waiting for FCC reply and the station comment to our reports. But
yeah,
that'll be interesting. We'll keep you guys updated on that.
there were a couple fines issued because of The Walking Dead. I'm not going to touch on that one. Ended up being $68,000 for things and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Did we already cover the young Sheldon one?
That's what I'm about to talk about.
Okay.
On the 9th of September 2019, the FCC proposed a $272,000 fine against CBS for using simulated EAS tones in a Young Sheldon episode. Basically, for those of you who haven't watched the episode, they were simulating a tornado warning in that episode,
which is actually not a bad episode. It's actually kind of worth your while.
It wasn't a bad portrayal. It's just that they downloaded EAS tones from YouTube and changed the volume.
Yeah.
So,
which is funny though, because it's so easy just to make your own headers.
Honestly, it would have just been better to flip the bit from
exactly. But I don't think that's the reason that the FCC fined them, though. Wasn't it because it sounded too familiar?
Because it sounds like an EAS tone.
Yeah, exactly. Which honestly is a valid reason, because it's just desensitizing people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Which I think was the main reason for the fine, though, wasn't it?
The main reason for the fine was the main reason for the fine is that it sounds like an EAS tone. And
which is part of the desensitizing part that we were mentioning.
Anything that sounds like an EAS tone can be fined.
Mm-hmm.
And then on April 7th, 2020, the FCC proposed a fine against a New York radio station, WNEW, for the use of the attention signal as a part of a skit discussing the NPT held later that day. Or actually, on October 3rd, 2018, as a part of a skit for the MPT. That's because that was one of the MPT ones. There are a couple more. There is a would you could you on a train incident that I was able to find.
Would you could you on a train?
There was an incident in 2017 where a technical glitch caused by GWES-ERN caused the end of message tone to be omitted, causing regional participants, particularly Charter and Cox, to simulcast a portion of Chuck Swindle's Insight for Living program.
Huh?
And as the portion of the program relayed, basically, it came in right at the part where Swindle was discussing Bible verse 2 Timothy 3 section 1 and stated, "Realize this: extremely violent times will come."
Oh.
So also known as just very poor timing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That is, wow.
Yep.
Which is just weird though, because was it do we know what station has that caused the EOMs to yeet themselves out?
GR. I'm joking.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised.
I've seen a lot of boxes do this. I've watched my Sage hang on EOMs before, not that long, but I've seen it hang a good couple seconds. I wouldn't be surprised. I've actually seen Sages crash mid-alert before. It's rare, but it does happen. DASDEC could do it. TFT...
I could be wrong, but I think that alert was on an easy cap. I think that alert was on an easy cap, actually, because I remember the scroll being, like, blue.
And then, the last one I'm going to touch on for EAS history today is I'm actually going to touch on two of them. One of them that we mentioned earlier, which is the Wave broadband hack, and then the last one being the Hawaii false alarm.
Yeah, that's another huge one. I mean, most people, they either think of the 2011 one or the Hawaii false nuclear alarm thing.
Yep.
That's usually what they think of. Or the Purge, which I hate. I hate that people associate EAS with the Purge now.
Thanks, the Purge.
Yeah.
But yeah, so on February the 20th, 2020, the Easy Caps owned by Wave Broadband, which is a Washington State based cable provider. They're a small cable provider in certain regions of our state. Most of our stuff is actually like been on the western side. It's mostly Comcast and Ziply, and then on the eastern side, it's Charter Spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
Wave Broadband's pretty small. Wave Broadband's pretty small. And about 3,000 of their customers received false alerts, including a radiological hazard warning, which contained, and they changed the CG and the cap text to be a bunch of memes.
What?
And one of them suggested that the provider change their passwords.
Okay. Okay.
Publicly forward Easy Cap.
Yeah, because the thing is though, like it's like even like all digital index nowadays will tell you like, hey, bitch, change your password.
The Easy Cap does. No, I thought the Easy Cap does that, doesn't it?
Nope. But actually, since then, the newest update of the Easy Cap does require you to change the password, but you can change it right back. You can change it right back to the default.
Why would you do that? You are so dumb. You're asking for a fine if you do that.
I guess if you do that, I guess it's more of like I don't want to lose my muscle memory to the password.
Here's the thing. It is now mandated by the FCC for you to have a different password from the original due to situations like that.
Yeah, which is why when I first got my DASDEC, it required me to change the password out of the box.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't think it required it until I got V4.
Yeah, it didn't require it. It doesn't require it until V3.
V3, okay. Yeah, because what was my dad's running? Like 2.6 when I first got it?
Yeah, you're running 2.6.
Yeah, I'm glad I have V4. It's so much better. Now just waiting for V5.
Yeah.
But
so about the Hawaii scenario, lead us in on that. I wasn't there. My dad was there for that, but...
On January 13th, 2018 at 8:07 a.m. local time, The Hawaii Emergency Management Agency mistakenly issued an emergency alert warning of a ballistic missile inbound threatening the region, which claimed to not be a drill.
Was it
38 minutes
issued
later.
wasn't it issued as a civil danger warning or?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
It went over TV, radio, and phone, so pretty much all EAS. It didn't
went
really,
over iPods.
Sirens never activated because that's a completely separate system. That requires a couple phone calls.
Yeah. 38 minutes later, it was announced by the Hawaii Emergency Management Agency as well as the Honolulu Police Department that the alert was a false alarm. The incident came amidst heightened concern over the possibility that Hawaii could be targeted by North Korean missiles.
Mm-hmm.
And basically...
Well, the thing is, though, that was right at like the height of the United States and North Korea situation.
That was right after freaking. That was right after Japan's whole thing where they issued their own EAN.
There was a bunch of videos of J-Alert going off on there.
Dude, J-Alert went off hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of the whole North Korea thing, right?
Hey, fun fact.
North Korea launched missiles above Japan.
Hey, random
missile tests.
Fun random fact. Parts of Okinawa use Whelans as their J-Alert sirens.
Nice, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know why I just had to say that.
Because you're a nerd.
Nerd! Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of all the big ones. I mean, there's a bunch of small ones, but it's like,
dude, there's a shit ton.
You can't even cover them all in one day.
Way too many to cover in a single episode.
Well, I wouldn't even say a single episode.
If you go to the FCC's site for emergency alerts, they've literally got a page specifically for like reports against emergency alerts and stuff, and there's like 700 items in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Granted, maybe not all of them are false alerts, but that's just reports that the FCC is investigating. Because, someone could report it as a false alert, but then the station could be like, no, this was real. But the FCC, they still have to investigate it if someone complains about it. But it's definitely worth your time to check it out. But yeah, I don't know. Do you guys want to? Is there much else you want to touch on, Gabe, or is that about it?
Yeah, that's about it for my part. Is there anything else you all want to talk about?
We could move over to Daz stuff again. I mean, so I could give an update on that. So we're still waiting for the end of the month because today is July 31st. But tomorrow, I will be getting in contact with Daz and seeing roadmap stuff on the Daz 3. So we'll cover that in the next episode. But supposedly tomorrow, August 1st, will be the day that Dazs start to ship out, so we're excited about that. Because it's got to be... how long has it been since someone has released a new encoder? It's been a hot minute.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Who was the last one? Was
released the EasyCap.
And we all know how that one turned out.
And that has been a minute. Like, EasyCaps have been out for a hot minute.
Yeah, because the digital hasn't had a major hardware revision at all, and that's been out since 2007.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, if I were to guess who would be next, I would say it's probably Sage.
I don't know, man.
I don't think they will.
They got their flagship product. I don't think they got their flagship product. I really don't think they're going to do much.
Well, that's
I could
the
be
thing,
wrong.
though. It's been so long, but the same thing, though, is the gray box has lasted forever.
Here's the thing. No, whenever you look at it, the gray box actually didn't, because the gray box was
the gray box was actually kind of short-lived.
Yeah, the gray box was overtaken by the digital in 2007, and it was made in 97. So the gray box, the blue box has existed for a long time. And here's the thing:
the blue box has outlived the freaking gray box.
Not only
I'm just hoping that not only is it just like
it's only going to be Daz, buddy. It's sadly only going to be Daz.
Yeah, but that's the thing, though, is I would hope that more companies would try to take advantage of the competition ability there.
Well,
Because
that's
if there's
the
only
thing.
one person releasing new things,
Sage
such as
is
Dad.
the competition. Maybe
Yeah.
if Sage made a more TV optimized end deck, maybe
Yeah.
something like that. But
And
That's
I would
not-
enjoy to see that though, because it's competition.
Here's the thing. Here's the sad truth. The emergency alert system, the reason why you're not going to be seeing any, like, the DAS sorely needed this upgrade. It's literally a PC from the early 2000s. It sorely needed it. Like, a lot of DASs were running still in 2022 32-bit software. So
don't even get me started on the GR cap deck.
yeah, but the DAS deck is really old, and it needed a freaking hardware revision because it's getting into the point where a lot of their dependencies that the DAS relies on at this point has actually, they don't make it for 32-bit software anymore. They had to
And
upgrade to
it's
64.
super insecure to have like outdated
Yeah.
stuff. Extremely insecure.
Especially nowadays. So basically, DAS, this was really only DAS's option. They needed to make a new product for people who had the older version and say, hey, you should get this new one, because this new one solves all of our security issues and our outdated stuff with the old one.
Of course, a lot of TV stations can be like, no, it works. We don't really care.
But basically, whenever it comes to Sage, the reason why Sage isn't going to make a new box is they don't need to. They've already got the competition. Like, Drew drew up a graph, or he sent a graph not too long ago showing the mapping of every single station. Legitimately, there are so many. Yeah, out of 5,000, it's like, wasn't it like 80+% of them are blue boxes?
It was.
Why would they
That's
replace it?
that's in radio, isn't it? Or is that
No,
nationwide?
that's radio
That-
and TV.
That's radio and TV. That's both of them. They are.
Because I know TV DAS controls that market.
Oh, yeah.
Radio
100%.
Sage controls that market.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Overall, whenever you look at it, there are so many more radio stations than there's TV. I would say easily there's at least 5 radio stations to 1 TV station.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, DAS controls the market for TV, and that's why them releasing a new one using, proper new standards, frickin' HD video, all that, is a good thing for them to do. Then again, Sage doesn't need to do that, because their box already supports it.
I think it would be nice, though, to see a Sage with, like, an actual inbuilt character generator. I feel like people would
It's
like
not
that.
going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Maybe it's not, but I'm just saying I think I'd like
Yeah,
it.
as much as we would love for it to happen, it would be a nice touch, but
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
It would be more of a
honestly-
collector's thing.
Honestly, from what I see, the way I see things are going, I really don't think that the easy cap is going to stay around for much longer. Nobody uses it. It's not updated, and
it's too expensive.
it literally runs Python 2, for God's sake.
It's prohibit. The newer versions are 3, but the
actually,
it's like 3.2. It's still an ancient version of 3, but it runs 3. It's still prohibitively expensive though. Nobody uses it because why get that when you can buy a DAS deck? The DAS deck can do everything and more. They've been taking features out of the easy cap. Like one of the most recent updates, they took out MNET ability, which is a big thing for the easy cap.
Yeah, I mean, that is apparently Trilithic's, like, Trilithic loves that. That's their favorite thing to do.
Well, it's not
remove
Trilithic.
features.
It's not Trilithic.
Well,
it's
it
actually
was.
Viavi.
All of that started happening
Yeah.
when Viavi took over.
Yeah.
So Viavi has honestly ran that, because the easy cap would have been really great if Trilithic still supported it. Because the whole integration between the easy cap and the easy plus, meaning that you didn't need to buy new encoders, you only needed to buy like one easy cap, and now you can control all of your easy pluses from a central location.
Yeah, it would be great for like things like
Yeah.
big broadcast companies that have a bunch of smaller stations. They can
First
make
thing,
everything
first thing that
happen.
comes to my mind is cable systems.
Exactly.
It is perfect for that, but as soon as Viavi bought Trilithic, they started pulling these features out. We have no idea why. Like, there's no benefit from them pulling these features out.
There's no backstory to them pulling it either.
Yeah. There's no reason that we know that they did it. All we know is they started pulling the features out. Now the easy cap is it isn't the worst, but it is one of the worst index, because if it is prohibitively expensive, It has basically no features versus the competition. The only one that I could say is worse is the GR. And that's because the GR is questionably even able to be IPAWS certified.
Compliant.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, honestly, now that I'm thinking about it again, the next competitionable end deck might be the WHCN end deck.
who knows? But basically, so whenever it comes down to it, you're not going to be seeing any new... I don't think that the Easy Cap is going to be around for much longer. Maybe a couple years at best.
For sale or for like everything about it, like support, sale?
I'm not sure. I just don't think it's going to be around for much longer because it's basically a ticking time bomb until Viavi realizes that they're losing money on it, and then they're just going to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, considering they're charging $20,000 for them.
Yeah, but basically, whenever it comes to the Easy Cap, I don't see it being around for much longer. The Sage is still going to dominate the radio market. That's not going to change. It's going to stay that way because the Sage is a drop-in replacement for the 1822, which was one of the first ones. That's why it's so widespread. It is one of the most secure whenever it comes to security standpoints because it's all custom hardware and it's hard to get into, unless you're us. But like, it is a great encoder. It does everything right. It's got a really great TTS. It's just a good all-around encoder. And that's why I think Sage is still going to dominate the radio market. And Daz is still going to dominate the TV market because, you know, they now have the only end deck that has a built-in, they're the only people who will have an end deck that can do HD character generator on the actual end deck itself. And
which is what a lot of TV stations actually want.
Exactly, because why
then you don't have to go buy like an Evertz or something.
Exactly. So that's really great for TV stations, but whenever you look at radio, why would they want that? You're not going to use a character generator in radio. So
I mean, who knows what Daz has planned? They might come out with some ballin' ass thing in V5 that's just on it like under embargo.
You know what I wish? I wish there was more HD radio. I understand HD has like its own little EAS thing, but I wish it kind of had some other support, like maybe a pop-up somewhere, or maybe like, I don't know. I wish more Index kind of integrated with it better. I wonder if the Daz will do that.
What I would love is more widespread adoption of Sirius XM's push system, because I don't know if you guys are familiar with this. But on certain like high trim cars.
Yeah, my mom's car has that too.
They have Sirius XM Travel Link, and what that does is that whenever you're hopping on a road that's like has traffic, it'll send traffic alerts to your car.
Whenever we had a tropical storm warning, my mom's Volvo showed up a tropical storm warning from Sirius XM.
Yeah, I wish that could be used a little bit better.
Yeah.
So more widespread adoption.
That kind of sounds like cap over satellite.
It kind of is, really.
Decodes it.
Yep.
Sirius XM knows it and sends it.
Yeah, because it kind of sounds, because that's kind of sounds like,
it's just push cap,
your car
really.
Is decoding. Yeah.
It's push cap.
It's a push notification that uses cap.
I wonder if we could someday build a decoder for that.
We already built a decoder for NAD, so it wouldn't be that hard if it is push cap.
Well, yeah, but it's probably hella encrypted.
Well, it's getting sent over the pre-existing connection for the music side.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I guess as long as you can get into a Sirius link.
Now, should I buy a freaking Sirius XM receiver?
Do it.
I have one.
Oh, do you actually? You should hook it up.
No, it's in my car.
Oh, okay. I was about to say.
But I'm assuming. I'm assuming it wouldn't be that hard to get into.
I have one of my car too. It's just not it's not a traveling enabled receiver. It's just for music.
I would assume mine is because I drive a 2021. I'd have to look into that more.
Here's the thing that I hate about Sirius XM. This is going to be a little bit of a tangent, dude. To cancel Sirius XM, if you don't want it anymore, you have to sit on a phone call with them.
Yeah.
You have to call them, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, but the things and stuff. Don't leave us."
Yeah.
And they'll try giving you a bunch of deals and shit. I'm like, no.
I do not want your bullshit.
Yeah.
And it's just like, ugh.
Do you have to have a subscription to get TravelLink info?
Yeah, it's an add-on sub.
Yeah.
Oh,
add-on
is it
subscription
actually?
It's an add-on subscription to.
That's ridiculous.
You would think that for emergency capabilities, that should be free.
Yeah, exactly. That's almost like fear-mongering. Like, pay us if you want to stay safe.
No, because it kind of reminds me of how like they should take from carriers. Like, you are required by the FCC to allow 911 calls, even if they're not a subscriber to your network.
Yeah,
And you are required to send WIA.
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
As long as that phone can connect to your tower, you're required to send WIA.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. I think SiriusXM could probably get their head out of their asses for that.
Well, I think they're definitely getting their head out of their asses. They're going way more into streaming now because people are realizing like, oh shit, cars aren't coming with SiriusXM anymore.
Really?
Oh, shit, how the fuck are we gonna make our money?
That's a thing.
Yeah,
that cars are dropping Sirius.
Especially newer ones, like you don't see Teslas having Sirius, do you?
Well, yeah, that's fair.
Only the big brand shit has Sirius, but most people are going to be using CarPlay anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I
Android
do.
Auto.
Yeah.
I have Sirius, but that's because I got it's like $4 a month for me, and I was like, if my CarPlay stops working, which it does occasionally, because the Android in my car isn't the greatest, and sometimes it just likes to bork itself, but I can still use Sirius.
Yeah. Dude, honestly, I always listen to FM terrestrial over Sirius. Like, I will not listen to Sirius unless I absolutely have to. Like, when I went to the Keys, I listened to Sirius.
See, that's the thing is, I would rather listen to Sirius than FM, but I guess that's just subjective. I guess that's just subjective.
So I actually do have a Sirius XM Connect vehicle tuner in my car. Like, I can go over to my car right now and activate Sirius.
Yeah.
If I really wanted to.
Well, here's the thing, Cam. I also live in a very, very, urban area. And I'm not in bumfuck nowhere, Montana. Yeah, I'm not in bumfuck nowhere, Montana. So, I actually get shit. And my shit isn't a bunch of loonies on the radio. I'm just kidding. If you're from Montana, we love you.
No, it's KUFM sending an alert for all of the country is what it is here.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Also,
I wouldn't mind giving Sirius XM another try now that I'm going to be driving a lot more.
We should get an ERN Sirius subscription so that we can get shit from them.
Multi-car.
Well, yeah. Well, so here's the thing. I actually do have a freaking car adapter sorry. Correction. I used to have a car adapter.
Oh, what happened to it?
It's time to get serious about Sirius.
What happened to it was that I threw it away after I got my Connect vehicle tuner on my car.
I see.
That's fair. I guess if you don't have a use for it.
Yeah, I don't have it because I don't have a use for it, right? No, what I was thinking of doing is for a while is freaking live streaming the Barker channel.
Yeah, honestly,
monitor.
that's what Iowan does, but I just checked and it's down.
But yeah, so I guess that's about it for this episode, unless you guys really have anything else you guys really want to talk about. But I think we covered all the big stuff for this week. So
Yeah, we did.
What do you want to talk about? I guess we can tease next week's EAS history, Gabe, if you have any idea what you're going to talk about.
You'll have to get back to me on that one. I actually don't know.
Tune in next week for EAS history.
Instead of EAS history, is going to be EAS present.
We're going to talk about the present, state of EAS.
Because I covered most of the history already.
I would like to help lead out this episode by saying "fuck you, T-Mobile." If you wake me up in the middle of the night again, I'm gonna have to talk to your lead engineer and tell him a few words.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming "fuck" and "you" are going to be in that statement.
A few of them.
Okay. Well, all right then. Well, hey, everybody, thanks for listening to the ERN Podcast. Yep. If you like what you're hearing, go ahead and subscribe and like it on whatever podcast platform you want. And, I will. We'll see y'all next week.
GWES-ERN.network. Go. No, go. Sponsored by WES-ERN Technologies.